Our Computex 2025 coverage is made possible by Corsair, Asus, Phanteks, G-Skill, Lian, Seasonic, Thermal Grizzly, Trix, Team Group, Antec, Pro Gamers Group, InWin, BitsPower, Be Quiet, Cable Mod, and Cougar.
What's going on, guys? I'm Stuart from GGF and we are at Computex. It's officially day one. We are at the ROG booth. As you can see behind me, it is absolutely huge. We're going to be taking a look at some new peripherals, some new GPUs, and some motherboards as well. So let's get started. Now, on the peripheral side from ROG, probably two main devices here. They do have this mouse pad as well, but I will focus on the new ROG Harp Ace 2 or the Harp 2 Ace, and then also the ROG Felcata keyboard. Now, this interesting keyboard, I was at the media day 2 days ago and they went over these devices. Don't have too much information on. I will get some shots of the spec cards for you, but this is an interesting split design keyboard. Now, this isn't anything new. Split design keyboards have been around for many years. Even back in the day before gaming, they had those ergonomic design keyboards, but this one's purely for gaming. So the main idea around this one is obviously your main gaming side is going to be the left side. You can unclip this if you like. You can move this out of the way. I'm not sure how much you can see. I'll get some top-down shots of this. You can move your mouse if you're in a limited space. Now you've got the main keys that you need, providing you're not going to be chatting away and everything. You don't need the full keyboard. If you're a pro gamer, you just need the keys you need. You've got a very small, minimalistic keyboard with the keys that you need. And then if you do require the space again, you can just join this back together. I'll see if I can join it back with the one hand. There we go, back together. Now, first thing I said was, why does it need this, this bridging cable when it is joined together? Because I thought that if it's joined together, can't they use like pogo pins or magnetics or something? Can't do that because this keyboard uses the magnetic Hall switches. Specifically in this one, it's the ROG HFX V2 magnetic switches. They have adjustable actuation points. You can actually set that in the software. You can actually set that on the fly on the keyboard. So you can go to something like 0.01 millimeters all the way up to, I believe it was 3.5 millimeter. And it has all the indicators on the side. And you can also set that for each switch as well. And you can set that per each switch, doing it directly on the keyboard. Personally, I would rather do that in the software. I think it would be much faster. But if you don't have the software, you can do that directly on the side of the keyboard via the navigation LEDs. And going back to why they couldn't do it so it can snap together and you don't need the cable, because using magnets and clipping it together would interfere with the magnetic switches. So that's why they've had to do the bridging cable. Obviously, you need the bridging cable for when it's like separated like this, but when it's joined together, you have to go with this cable. And I do believe there's going to be two size cables, a longer one for when you got it split like this, and then when you join it together, it is going to be a little short cable that has a very nice curve as well. But overall, nice keyboard, and it is heavy, like it feels nice. This feels like an all, I would say, aluminum chassis, and then you have the nice rubberized wrist rest as well. Still on the Felcata here, we got a bit of a breakdown on what actually is involved in this keyboard. Now, it's a lot more than I actually thought. We have these plates that go on the bottom. Obviously, you need two, one for each side. So these are basically go on if you want to use the gel wrist pad. So they will mount on, and that allows you to actually extend the wrist pad onto these. If you don't want it, you can take these plates off. Then we also have the screw-in feet. Now you have different feet, you have different size, and you can get different angles on the keyboard. So this one here is a more, I would say, ergonomic angle. You've got tilted from the middle down to the side. Some people might like that angle on the keyboard. Now, moving to the actual inside design, the keyboard itself is I believe a 5 or 4 layer design. You've got the foam, you've got the rubber silicone inside, and there's a few more layers as well that make up this complete keyboard. So there's quite a lot that goes into this. It's just not a thrown together keyboard just to get something out for Computex. There's actually a lot of design that goes into it. People might think this is a bit of a gimmick out there, but they have worked with a lot of pros in developing this, and you can see that just the feel and the quality of this keyboard, I'm sure quite a few people will be interested in a product like this. Now this here is the new ROG Harp 2 Ace. This one here, I'll go over some of the main differences. Now, this one here is the original version. I actually use this one here as my primary gaming mouse, and I really do like it. So this one here is 54 grams. The new model, the 2, is 48 grams. So they've shaved about 6 grams off the weight, which I think is always good. They're always trying to get that lower weight in those mice. And now, I know a lot of people don't like a really light mouse, but for myself after using it, I kind of feel I can't go to anything else. So some of the changes in here, this has 8K wireless for wired and the wireless connection, which I just said. And the material is also different as well. So on the back here, they've gone with a lot of different materials to try and get this for the best user's needs. On the original one, it's very, very rough, different feel. Now, I remember the original one comes with those grip stickers you can put on. I normally put that on the primary button and on the side for the grip. So no doubt this one will come with those as well. The feel on this one is a lot more smoother, and it's also a lot more sturdy as well. They've done some internal redesign to make it not as flexible, because on the original one, it was a little bit squishy on the sides, but this one feels, I wouldn't say a lot more premium, but it still feels nice. It just is stronger integrity on the sides. And then once again, it has that aim point sensor, and it will work with the Armoury crate, and same with the keyboard behind me as well. Any prices and ETAs I have on this, I'll put it in the description in the video. And of course, it does come in the black and the white models as well. So we have a few motherboards here. A lot of these were sort of not out at CES, but they were introduced around CES time. And some of these are already on the market, because we're at a time where there hasn't really been any new motherboard releases. We do have the AMD Apex behind me, which I'll have a look at. Now, I do apologize if it's hard to hear, because it is very, very noisy at this ROG booth. Now, one board that did catch my eye is the Strix B850-G Gaming Wi-Fi. Now, I do like my white builds, I like my white peripherals. There's also the new white liner GPUs from ROG, which we'll check those out as well. But this board is really nice, and I really do like how the whites on the board is super, super white. Now, you may have had the previous white Apex, you may have had some white ROG boards before. Even this one here, it's kind of a grayish white. I wouldn't say it's 100% white, but this one is completely different. This one is super white. It has a very, very cool aesthetic to it, and then you got that silver there. So anyone doing those MHX builds who have a white chassis, this board could be one for you. I won't get into all the specs, but basically AM5 socket, plenty of ports on the back, and I'll get some close B-roll on that one. But the main one I want to go over here is the Crosshair X870E Apex, which is this one here. I recently covered the Crosshair Extreme, which is behind me. I won't go over that. I did an unboxing. I've got that in a build here at Computex. I've covered that one, but a lot of people ask me in that video, when is this one coming out? But this one should be coming out soon. Everyone's been wanting an Apex board on the AMD platform, and it is finally here. Not too much on it here. Of course, AM5 socket, also what, 9000, 8000, 7000 series processors. The power solution is an 18, a 2, and a 2 for the power stages. I'll get a close-up on this as well, so you can see all that. Now, moving over to this one here, we are sort of rushing through this because I don't want these videos to drag on and on and on, so I want to keep this sort of entertained in all of these products. Now, this is the ROG RYUO 4. Apparently the Y is silent, so it's RYUO 4. This is a 360 ARGB all-in-one cooler. Now, this was at CES. The start of the year. It was a bit of a prototype there, but now this one's finally finished. It's going to be hitting the market real soon, and it is a 2K wraparound screen. Now, you may have seen Computex last year that the screen could actually actuate flat, and then it could go back into curve. This one, I think it's a good idea that they've gone with this route. It is stuck in this position, which is good, because having that electronic moving parts, I just think it would have been a bit of a disaster. But this is it. Here, I'll get some shots of it installed in the system, just so you can see how well it clears things like memory clearance and all that when it's in an actual chassis. I mentioned 2K screen. That's pretty much it. There's not too much on here. They're kind of hiding a lot here, but it will be launching soon. And then you have a bit of a aesthetic on the side. It looks like a Velcro strap. So just something to sort of keep it interesting and keep it looking really cool. Then we have some more boards over here. We have this is a Z890 Hero, the Z890 Extreme, and then I do believe the AMD Extreme is just over there. So I won't go over those two, because those two are pretty much out already on the market. Now, last on some motherboards here from ROG, we have these two BTF. Now, we've had Intel BTF for quite a while. This is the Hero, so I don't really cover that. It is sort of new on the Z890. I do have this board. I will be using it in an upcoming build. But over here, which is pretty interesting, is we have an AMD BTF. So I don't think we've really had that before. This is the X870E Hero BTF. So I think it's good that now they're branching into AMD boards. I know a lot of people are, I would say, making the shift over to AMD. So now they have that flexibility as well to go with a BTF motherboards, because pretty much nearly every case that I'm getting into review all of the boards are supporting the back connect motherboard support, which is good. So you can throw in a board like this, and if you're using the ROG one as well, you also get that BTF connector for the GPU. And when we have a look at some of their GPUs, they have some special features for their new BTF graphics cards that actually plug into their slot, so we can go and have a look at those now. Now this product here is really cool. Now we all know ROG has had their BTF graphics card. Now previously, the graphics card here, the BTF version, this is the BTF version, but it looks a bit different. The BTF version had that connector that ran along the bottom of the card. I don't know if they have one here because they have all the new versions. So with that connector, it's slotted into the motherboard. So because it had that extra connector, you had to use a specific ROG. It had to be ROG, and it also had to be an ROG BTF supported motherboard, which had that little, kind of looks like a 4x connector on the end of it, and you had to pair it with that board. So that meant things like future upgrading, resell, it'd be very hard to sell the graphics card on its own. You could use the motherboard with any GPU, but you had to use this GPU with this certain motherboard. What they've done now is, oh yes I can. So this is now the BTF connector. So this would go into the slot like so, and then that goes into the bottom of the graphics card at the back. I'll get some close-ups. I can't really do it because I'm using one of my hands. So at the bottom of the card, that would slot in there, and then that gives you that extra edge connector to run into your motherboard. So that means now you can use it on a normal board. If you're thinking about going with the BTF and you don't quite want to, it just gives you that flexibility. And if you're running it normally, you just run it into the standard 12 volt high power on the front side, and you've also got that back side. Now, you might be wondering, well, what happens if you plug it into a board like this, and then you also plug it into the front? You're going to be running two power connectors into the GPU. They said no, there's going to be no issues. It can only do one-way transmission, so that's fine. But then they said they might do something like some BIOS features where you can get some extra power, because technically you've got power coming in from the bottom edge and you've got power coming in from the top. So a normal card can say do 600 watts. They could push that even further for extra overclocking capabilities. This monster over here, we all know that ROG has done the NOCTUA collaboration, and once again, for the 50 series, this monster over here is the NOCTUA / Zeus or ROG. I wouldn't really say ROG, but more Zeus. This is the NOCTUA collab, and this is a 5080 over here. This thing is a monster. I'll try to get a shot of B-roll where I can compare this to something like the 5080 Astral, just to see the size of it. I do think this would be bigger. Like, I don't know if I can even. Yep, it's very, very heavy. The cooling here is absolutely insane. The 4080 NOCTUA I had before, I did a build on it. That had the 2 fans, so that finished about, I would say probably here. That had the 2 120mm NOCTUA fans. This has the 3, so this thing is an absolute monster. You're going to have to be very mindful to what case you're going to be putting in to this, because it is very, very large. And then I'll try and get a shot of the back just to see how this looks. Very, very nice. Of course, this aesthetic is not going to be for everyone. It has the brown, multiple brown, and then the beige. Actually, 3 colors of brown. You got the Zeus brown on the top there, on here, then you have the brown on the shroud, and then you have the brown on the fans. But some people like it. Of course, if you're doing a full NOCTUA build, this is definitely going to be the card for you. Now, you all know I love my white builds, and we also have an extension on the white graphics cards from Asus. Now, before, I think there was only the white Strix before, but now we have pretty much or most of the lineup from ROG. Now we have the Tough will be in white. I think we're going to have the Prime in white. There's an Astral in white as well. There's none over here out at the moment. I'll get a shot of the Astral in an actual PC. It looks pretty sweet. But these ones here are the AMD side of things. It's probably in video as well, but they just don't have them out at the moment. So these ones are the Tough 9070 XT BTF. So we got one here, and I want to know your thoughts. Do you appreciate that they've brought these out in white, or do you think they should have stuck with the only a sort of a limited edition in the white like they did before? So, being BTF, these ones are the same that I just mentioned before. They have that edge connector. You can run them both ways. You can run them into the bottom of the motherboard, or you can run them traditionally out of the standard 12 volt high power on top of the card. And then we also have a, let me just fix that up, also have a new Tough Gaming. This is a B850 Tough BTF here, and that looks pretty sick as well. So if you're going for the full AMD lineup, you can get your white AMD GPU, and you can pair that with the white AMD motherboard. But I think that's it on most of the products at the ROG booth. There were a few more things like monitors and that, but I wanted to keep it relevant to my channel. But I want to thank you guys for watching, and then I want to thank ROG for supporting my Computex coverage, and we'll see you in the next one.